the most use of our time here tonight. Seeing as it is the last time we're going to be on the couch for a little while, so I'll be going away. But you know, say I didn't tell you. I don't want anybody asking me any questions when I do get back here, if I do get back here, and saying, oh, you just went away, you didn't tell us. So we're going to make the most of tonight's conversation, wrapping up the series on accountability. And Coach M just needs to put his young man to sleep. The last time Ian was on the show with us, that's his son, it was quite dramatic, and so he's asked for just a little more time so that his boy can, go to sleep, and then he will join us. But let's get the conversation started anyway. Okay, seeing as we have been talking about accountability, let me see, what does accountability in romantic relationships look like? A quick one. Coach M has said it is about each partner taking ownership of their actions, their words, and the impact that these actions will have on them, the person they're in a relationship with, and the relationship as a whole. So coming from that definition, except you think that there's a different definition to accountability, then you can call in and let's maybe just revise and start from that point right now. But if we're going to come from that definition, the conversation around each partner allowing the other access to their phones, would you agree that this is a sign of, oh, I want to be accountable to you and I want you to be accountable to me, and so I would allow for such a thing to happen? Or do you feel differently about it? Yes, over time, when you sit down and you really break down the issues, it can present a bit of a complex situation. And so some people have said, oh, well, why should that be the measurement of how accountable I am to you? If you feel like you have to do regular checks on my phone, like this is some DSS operative or like an FBI agent or whatever, then what it is not an accountability thing. It's a case of a lack of trust. But some people say it just shows that I'm transparent and I have nothing to hide, right? But perhaps what we're going to do with the conversation today is try and make sense of whether it's a direct yes or a direct no thing. Mrs. Omeza already started last week. As I was asking the question, she was dropping a quick no. But how about we have a conversation about it beyond just the yes and a no? If you think yes, that each person should allow their partner to have access to their phones, and that shows that you're accountable, you're allowing room for accountability. If you think yes, then let us know why you think yes. And if you think no, it's not a measure of accountability, then let us know why you think that. I'm reiterating, this is a no judgment zone. This is a place where we get to talk and learn. And yes, I might have my opinions and you might have your opinions. Maybe we can meet halfway. Better still, maybe we can agree to disagree. It doesn't have to be a straightforward thing. Yes? And just on time, Coach Mayzy is here. But I've already opened up the phone lines while he's still trying to get settled. Let's hear from you. Accountability. When we're talking about accountability, we've talked about finances. We've talked about, knowing where this person is, when this person is. We've talked about intimacy. And if you can talk about all those things, can you remove, that transparency when it comes to access to your partner's devices? Or you think it's a whole other conversation? Let's talk. It's 0700951 0000 or 00959746869. You can also join in on the conversation on WhatsApp. Make sure to send a message. Let us know where you're sending your message from. Let us know your name as well. It's okay if you want to be anonymous. That's another thing that you can always get away with here on 95.1 Nigeria Info. Anonymity. You want to protect your identity, but speak from your heart. There's no point in being anonymous and you're also hiding. Talk true, direct, not through the corners. So 009-993-0137. You can send a voice note there. 1 minute, 30 seconds, no more. We're also streaming. You want to go to Facebook and YouTube to be part of the conversation. Send messages there, chat us up, let us know your thoughts, okay? Nigeria Info Abuja or Nigeria Info 95.1 Abuja will bring you to the conversation live on the streams. Please join us and participate. Don't wait for Coach Mayzy and I to set the tone for the conversation. Seeing as It has started differently today. I want you all to set the tone for the conversation. So how about we get into it? Are you an advocate of us having access to your partner's phone shows accountability? If it's a yes, please call in. Let us know why you think it's a yes. If it's a no, call in. Let us know why you think it's a no. I want to hear from you first before we then start with our own end. So it won't be like we're just ramming things down your throat by force. No. Let's hear from you. How about that? All my people, for Mrs. Omiza's hand. Don't let what she said be true, that you are listening, but you just don't participate. Can we get some real people on the conversation today? Let's do that. I have about a minute before I go on a commercial break. I can take one call. Or should I just bring Coach Mayzy on? I'm trying to hear from you first. Coach Mayzy. Good evening, boss. How are you doing? We're just going to do intro because we must hear from the people today. But let's just do this intro. Good to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Good evening to you.
Good evening,
our listeners.
How far? Were you successful? Is it 100% or is he going to pop into the conversation?
He's screaming on the background.
Oh, well done. Well done. Well done. It's not easy. It's not easy. Shout out to all these super dads like yourself who have to work and also babysit at the same time. God bless you. Thank you so much. Okay. So I just wanted to let the people know that you are here, even though we are not going to. I got some feedback today that we get people listening, but not a lot contributing, and I want to sort of change the tone for today. So I've put the question out, and I'm asking that people should share. Do they think that for their partner to have access to their phone and vice versa, do they think that that is being accountable to their partner, or is it a completely different thing altogether? And so I've asked people should let me know if they think yes, why do they think it is? If they don't think that it is a sign of accountability, why don't they think it is? And so we're hoping to get some conversations. And let's give him some time. Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll get into it proper. Thanks, Coach Mayzy.
Sports after this.
That's fine.
Our journey, like those before us, has
Audio Jungle.
All right, welcome to 95.1 Nigeria Info, 10:27 p.m. And so we're halfway into the time for this conversation. And I want to make the most things the restart. I did want people to join and share their thoughts, so I'm going to give another couple of minutes, 2 minutes thereabout. And if we're not takes, and be just shy. We're talking about accountability, and the question came up last week. If my partner has access to my phone, if I allow them have access to my phone and vice versa, does that mean that I am being accountable to them? Or is it a completely different conversation from accountability altogether? 07009510000 or 00959746869. And on WhatsApp, it's 0809-993-0137. I want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. Are you willing to share? Some people have said that they willingly allow their partners to check their phone for a variety of reasons. One of them being the desire for transparency, like I talked about, where it says, I have nothing to hide. Why should I not allow my partner go through my phone? Or I want to promote a strong sense of trust and openness within the relationships. Other people may feel differently about it. They feel like checking each other's phones is a sign of distrust. Aha. They feel differently about it. Which side are you on? Do you think it's ability? Do you think it's way too much information? Let's talk. Hello? Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Coach.
Good evening.
Yes, and before I go on, for me, I'll get something for you. I'll keep it in the office so it doesn't be a shame.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. For me, I would just say it the way it is because at the point I was listening to you and then I don't need to check anybody's phone because if I'm in a relationship, I'm thinking I trust you. I'm not going to check you. So if I start checking your phone, you do very well because I'm going to trust you. So then not your phone.
Okay. That's it?
I said, right, you know?
I mean, if that's the way I feel like you said all the time, with it.
Yeah, there's no need to check your phone. I don't trust you. I will know without checking. Do you I will know.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
okay. The best go to them. Accountability. The core of this company, but not such of that would we've been looking at and it's about in various areas as is we watching the conversation to those. So let's just show you lay back. So maybe to better bring people in on the conversation. Welcome, boss. You have the floor.
Yeah, please bear with me.
No, not at all. Not
all right. So, okay. I actually thought you said you have a floor.
No. I have the floor.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, so yeah, well, let me take it. Okay, good evening, everyone. It's a beautiful thing to be once again. A lot of people have to say, but they just don't talk.
I've heard.
The first person to speak, that kind of thing, right? But so let's get right into it. I'll refresh our minds with the very basic definition or explanation we gave of what accountability is.
Yep.
Yeah, and then against that backdrop, we will look at this question. We said it's accountability is you understanding and taking responsibility for thoughts, words, or inactions to the extent of your partner in your relationship, right? So when you understand that something you're doing or not doing can be detrimental, can be harmful to your relationship and to your partner, then that is accountability. First, let me know if you can hear me because I think the network is going all over the place. But
I think it's clear. I think it's so clear. I heard Ian just now ground.
Wow,
yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Go ahead.
So that's accountability, right? Knowing that something I am doing or not doing can impact on my partner and on my relationship negatively. So with that understanding, I choose to make sure that I do the things that impact positively to my relationship, to my partner, right? So, should my partner check my phone or should I check my partner's phone? Well, I've always advocated for the understanding of oneness, knowing that both of us are now in marriage, right? And then what should typically come with oneness is a very high level of openness and vulnerability, right? Because these are the things that establish trust. I tell people it's not a gift. You don't bestow trust on someone undeservedly. People give you reasons to trust them, and you give people reasons to trust you. So being open and being plain and being vulnerable to even share some of the things that you may consider weakness, some of the things you may consider struggles, some of the things you consider regrets and stuff like that. But this is a safe space. This person has best interest at heart, as it should be, ideally, because
the ideal situation, there's the reality of our world today.
The reality, now. But as it should be, the person you get to should be the person who has your back, right? Number one fan, your cheerleader, your go-to person, right? So if that is the case, then if you are still indulging in any activity that if your partner finds out, that will be broken. The question is, be true to yourself relationship, right? If I know that right now I am married and I'm still keeping some kind of, raunchy conversations with other girls, if she's going to be disappointed, she's going to be really offended, it could break her heart. So knowing that would be the effect, do I want to take my wife through all of that emotion? And you see, when I'm defining accountability, always talk about the impact on your partner and then the impact on the relationship. I always separate it because there are two different things. Once your partner is affected, then the relationship generally is affected. And then what happens? You are living in the same house, but the whole atmosphere is just so cold and so cloudy, and there's no vibe, there's no peace, there's no love, right? You don't want that for your relationship. You don't want to be feeling sad knowing that you are responsible for the unhealthy state of your partner's emotions right now. You see, so with that understanding, right, what you should do is to make sure that you're living a life that is clean enough that at any time, you can be open to your partner to say, hey, this is what it is. So that said, ideally, partners should have access. Now, take note of my use of the words, should have access to each other's devices. Access. There's also a reasonable use and an unreasonable use of that access. Right? So by that, I mean that it's okay to know each other's passwords. It's okay. I could need something on my phone, it's not around me, and my hands I'm doing some dirty work, and I just call my wife, hey, help me check, help me dial so person's number and tell them to do this and do that for me, right? That should be fine. There's certain of my phone calls that you should be able to pick and take the message for me. Oh, he's busy right now, but he says I can talk to you, all right? So it should be okay because there shouldn't be anything we're trying to hide. Now, the fact that she has access does not mean that when my phone is just on the table, she should start going through messages, start going through pictures, start going through everything, sniffing and looking for anything that could just look like this. No love, right? That one now is not a healthy access. Because the truth is, when people do that, their minds are already in an unhealthy place. And the interesting thing about the mind is that whatever you're looking for, you will find it. Whether it is there or not, they will interpret something else to support the paradigm. So if you don't waste time with other girls, that's fine. You start searching. All right. See what's happening. You see, hello, dear. You say, hey, who is calling dear? Who is this now? Then you know how ladies do all these things. You now go.
I don't know. I don't know ladies do FBI. I don't know.
You now go on Facebook, go and look for dear. You see the person. I'm sure it's this whole person. It's all about unnecessary. And then after punishing yourself, so I remember one video I saw one time. This guy was taking a walk with a lady, and then his girlfriend somewhere abroad, not Nigeria, and his girlfriend now came from the other side. I was like, oh wow, so this is the woman you're even and cheated on me with, blah blah. She just insulted the woman, did all that. And the guy was just shocked. When she finished, he says, my mother, my mother. And now she was embarrassed. So you heard him talking to his mom, and he's like, oh, love you much, oh, you mean the world to me. And then you're angry. And there's somebody that, and so when you are looking for something, a paradigm, even when it's not there, you would see something that is not and interpret it to support the thinking and the belief that you have. So to save yourself all of that stress, why not just choose to tell yourself, I'm not looking for anything. Yes, I have access to the phone, but let it be there. In fact, the fact that the person gives you access to it. I know people who have shared their passwords of everything with their spouses, everything, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, all their logins. In fact, their devices are actively logged into all their partners' phones. And yet, with all of that access, the partners are still sniffing for more. And the person is telling you, yes, I had a conversation with so person, but if I did not want you to know that I was having a conversation, will I not delete it from the chat? I left it for you to see that. So why are you still angry or suspicious that something sinister is going on? So you see that the problem at that is not the partner, it's the person. who is looking for implicating material. This is the challenge we have with unwholesome people getting into relationships, where they carry all of their trauma, all of their assumptions, all of their suspicion, all of their insecurities, and start projecting it on their partners. So the point is, yes, there should be access when there is trust and openness in that relation, in that marriage, right? There should be access to each other's devices. But taking advantage of that access to start looking for compromising or implicating material on your partner's device, I think is an overkill. It's not necessary.
Okay.
Sometimes when people tell me, oh, my partner was cheating on me, I'm like, did you catch them red-handed? Or are you making things up in your head? Because I've seen somebody having a dinner with a guy having a dinner with another lady, and the wife comes and says, so this is who you're cheating on me with. And I'm asking, how is having a dinner in an open place cheating on you? How is that? Business meetings can be had in those kind of environment. How is it that this man is talking with another woman, both of them open, decently dressed, nothing extra, no rose, no coziness, do you understand? But he's eating with somebody and talking, and then he's cheating on you, and then you go embarrassing the woman, more like embarrassing yourself, and all of those kind of things. You see, so the challenge is that people themselves need healing. If you are whole and secure, you would not be looking for material in your partners. When I have access to my wife's devices, she has access to my devices. We know our passwords. But I don't know how bored I will get that the next activity I want to do is to send her messages or going through her pictures. You know, what
They say,
really looking
they
for?
say it's different for men than it is with women. For you, you consider it boredom. For women, they consider it just keeping abreast of the situation.
No, have you finished? How many things have you finished keeping abreast with in the world that is your partners? You're looking for something. That's the truth. You know, people look for fine names and find ways to just justify some of this unhealthy behavior. But you are looking for something.
So what you're saying, Coach M, is
You're
you should have access to your partner's phones, but
there should be.
but there is unhealthy behavior that comes with having that access. Now, my question to you would be, say you are the partner in this relationship, right? Or I am the partner in this relationship, and I have allowed for, because I think accountability, openness, transparency, building trust and all of that, I've allowed access. I've allowed for access to my devices and vice versa with my partner. And I see that they are coming from an unhealthy place. What would be the way to resolve that situation?
Truth is, that may be difficult for you to resolve yourself, right? You may at some point need to involve the services of a therapist or a counselor.
Really?
Why am I saying that? Because, yeah.
Oh, I would have never gone that far.
When someone already has a mindset, changing that mindset is a technical and a professional skill. That's what CBT is about, cognitive behavioral therapy. Because you, being the spouse, may not be able to get to the roots of why the person has this belief system, why they have this mindset, what is powering this line of thinking, and you'll end up just reacting on the surface level. How many times have I told you, you need to learn to trust me, you need to learn to trust me, for goodness sake, I'm not doing anything. We keep saying that is not what will solve the problem. Because it's not like the person does not want to trust you. They want, they just don't know how. They just don't know how to get out of that disempowering thinking pattern to allow new thinking to come in. Do you get it? So they're telling them, stop this. Okay, I will stop. I'm sorry. Tomorrow again, they're asking, but who is that one you're talking to? They say, but I thought I've told you to trust me. But so you, the partner, may not have the skill to be able to navigate that conversation to get to what the root of that problem is. Because trust me, is a lot more foundational than just what you see at the surface. That distrust you see. So I was having a mentorship session with a group of young people recently, and this question about trust and mistrust came up. And because of what I know as a therapist, I told them that, one of them was thinking that the reason he had this problem was because his last relationship He felt jilted in the last relationship.
Yeah.
And then I told him, okay, what if I tell you that this distrust you're having did not even start with your last relationship? I said, what if I tell you it's more fundamental than that? And he's like, oh, really? How? And then we started talking. I started asking questions. And then guess what? From infancy, man has had mistrust issues. Why? Because of the unavailability of his parents. You see, so from childhood, that's another conversation for another day. But I'm telling you that there's the connection between the events of childhood, between the events of even infancy as a child, as a baby sucking breast with mother's milk, right? From infancy, seeds of distrust can be sown in a person's life, and it gets nurtured all the way through to adulthood. And when a person is like that, events will always substantiate that disbelief or that distrust that they already have in humans. Why? Because every human being has a force field around them. All right, follow me carefully. Every human is emitting vibes. There's energy coming out from around you. And what happens is that just like the magnet would attract any metal, all right, that is of the material that is magnetizable, magnetic, right? In the same vein, the force field you're creating would attract the events, the people, the circumstances that it can attract. So when people already grew up feeling like, I can't trust anybody, nobody is really true to me, the parents have not been fair, they've been here and there, I don't even know who I can call my own, there's already a seed of distrust in that person. When they get into a relationship, there's nothing the partner will do that will make them start trusting. However nice that partner is, there will still be that provision in their mind. One day, he will fall my hand. One day. So because they have that provision in their head, something the partner will do will be interpreted as, hey, I said it, I knew that he cannot be trusted. But when you trace it, it was really not what that person did. It was more about the trauma from childhood, right, that they did not even know was there. Okay. So you see what I'm saying, that when the partner is having that pattern, it might not be you, the other person, that will be really the one to help them out, because it's deeper than just, talking to them and suggesting, try and do this, try and do that. It's deeper, it's way deeper than that.
Okay.
That was why I said they may need services of a therapist.
Okay, right? We'll come back to that in a little bit. Okay. I need to take a call. All right. Yeah, because the phone line has been buzzing, so let's not miss out on that. Hello, good evening.
Somi, I'm going the guest in the studio. I'm sorry to abide him, but I just feel that I should contribute my own quota now.
Okay, let's hear it, sir. You have a minute.
Yeah, you see, my name is Barikasa. You see, I believe it may not necessarily be the fact that, there is an element of trust that the maybe we brought from our childhood days or when growing up. I think the problem actually is that the ideal marriage is very rare. Very rare. It's really like client. Understand? You just see somebody within 6 months, we are married to that person. We should be able to actually have partners with whom we think alike. Well, that there is no element of distrust, love. That is very low. Understand? And I want to believe that we should be able to extend the compass of accountability to include the fact that we should look at marriage as a school in which we have the responsibility of making our partners better person.
Okay.
I always say that better person. I always say that if after 5 years of marriage we still have marital faults, then that's what they read marriage.
Okay, Barrister Hassan.
So I'm just trying to extend the compass of accountability.
Okay.
Going beyond issue of devices or not, which I believe, we should be able to have no holds barred. We should be able to have access to our partners' devices without having any iota of distrust or suspicion.
All right, thank you, Barrister Hassan.
Remarried.
Yes. Thank you, Barrister Hassan.
Yes.
Your thoughts are noted.
I appreciate it.
Thank you
so
so
much for giving me the opportunity.
All right, I appreciate you. Barrister Hassan saying that he doesn't believe that there should be, denied access to partners' devices, but also trying to expand the scope. Believe me, when it comes to expanding the scope, we've been doing that for the last 3 weeks or so. This is just the final not on the ribbon before we let the conversation go. AOVE Samuel Kelvin, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, says, "Hi ma'am, talking about accountability in a relationship. It involves being responsible for your actions and decisions, as well as maintaining trust and transparency with your partner. Allowing your partner access to your phone, bank details, or personal information can be seen as a gesture of trust and openness, and it can strengthen accountability in the relationship." Kelvin says, however, accountability is a two-way street. It's important that both partners feel secure in sharing information, and that trust is mutual. If you're sharing sensitive information, it's essential to have clear communication about boundaries and expectations regarding privacy and trust. Thank you for coming up with this. You see this word privacy and trust? I'm going to come to it because that's one of the reasons why people disagree with the access to phone thing. It says, ultimately, accountability means being transparent and honest with each other, respecting each other's privacy, and being responsible for your shared decisions and actions within the relationship. If you feel comfortable and safe sharing this information, it can be a sign of a healthy, accountable relationship. Thank you, Kelvin, for your message. Ayuba Kiawu watching live from Bauchi. Enjoy your annual leave, Ayuba. Yakubu Alaba says, good evening. Good evening to you too. Joseph Damak, good evening to you as well. Let's see, Innocent Wisdom from Gwagwa watching live. Thank you. And also Francis Namani live from Amagunze in Enugu State. Good evening, Somi, and keep up the good work. Special thank you to all of you. Samuel is watching from UK. Thank you. Kelvin, rather. Samuel is watching from UK. Ayanshola Soji Kazim, we see your messages. And it's Freeman, thank God. Good evening to you as well. All right. I think Samuel Kelvin had the longest contribution to the conversation. Let's just take this next 2 minutes to see if you have any thoughts on the contribution so far before we go back to that aspect of the conversation, Coach, because I have a few questions myself, but let's get your thoughts on the contribution so far.
I believe the contributors were really on point. If I heard them correctly, I agree with their line of thoughts. There should be that openness. It helps to strengthen the trust, and it's a two-way street, like someone said there. We've had this issue where people believe that the man has access to the woman's phone, but she should not have access to his phone. And then I'm saying that's not a balanced scale, right? It goes both ways. I should be accountable to you, and you accountable to me. I've also heard a guy say before that no matter what his wife is doing, when he calls her, she must pick at the first dial. That if he has to call her a second time and a third time, that there's going to be problems. I said, whoa, so even if she's in the bathroom, he says, so long as he's the one calling, there's no excuse. She has to pick. I said, can't you even listen to yourself? Are there times that you are genuinely unable to pick your call? He said, yes, now, but that's him, the man. I said, come on, you're just not reasonable. And I don't wish anybody had known you. That's what I told him, because that's clearly some very high level toxic material there, not husband material, So if you don't think that you also ought to be accountable, whether as the woman or as the man, then it's not balanced to go both ways. I'm accountable to you, you are accountable to me, 100%, right? So I agree with the contributors. Let's just leave it at that. I don't think I had any contrary opinion. If there was, please feel free to bring it up here.
Oh, no, I don't think I heard any. I was going to come with my questions, but we need to take a quick break. And I don't want to rush you.
Okay.
So let's just take a quick break. I think I will come from the angle, you talked about trust, underlying trust issues that maybe people have grown up with all the way.
Yeah.
But I've also seen situations where someone said, as at the time we were dating, he didn't have a problem with me going through his phone. but was that when we got married, it became a problem. And she gave 2 instances that led to him stopping her from having access to the phone. And so sometimes, even when there's no underlying trust issue, is it a case of something that triggered the distrust in one partner for the other? Just think on that, and we'll come back and answer it after the break. Thank you.
I drink man synapse. It don't get the stamp of authority. Siemens don't get the seal of originality.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
All right, welcome back. I left Coach with a question, seeing as the first premise that he laid as to the reason why you can see a lack of trust coming up in situations that now makes it a bit unhealthy for someone to have access to their partner's phone. And I said sometimes, apart from the fact that, okay, what's like a childhood thing, isn't it possible that there are instances where once there was trust and openness, something happened and it triggers distrust in the partner, and then you have this other person saying, you can't access my phone anymore? Is that a situation? Do we see that play out often? Or is it largely hinged on? Okay, let's hear your thoughts on that.
Oh, yeah, it's very possible. Oh, yes, it's very possible. As a matter of fact, let me say this. Many people get into marriage full of hopes, positive expectations, and doing things ideally as it should be. And then, unfortunately, along the line, they are met with some kind of experiences from their partners, and they say, you know what? It'd be like, say this time, no, they walk. So let me cut you to size. Let me. Do you understand? Sometimes those kind of things happen, and it's rather unfortunate, right? Because yes, there are instances, a lot of them, where someone has tried to be open, tried to be as transparent as possible, and the partner abuses that. I know a particular instance where, because of the nature of this person's work, dealing with a lot of confidential information, just something like what I do, but I mean, this one was in the legal field.
Yeah.
Dealing with a lot of very confidential information from clients. In the spirit of openness, so he told the wife, well, this is my phone. You have access to this. This is my official line. People's lives are here. Confidential matters are here. When I keep this away from you, it is because it is work, right? So this level of proximity should not be compromising on this other information. So the point is, this is the one you have access to, but please, this one is work. And you know the kind of work I do. So please, if you go there, you will see things that your head cannot even handle. Anyway, along the line, she kept feeling like there must be something. And then she started trying to snoof around that particular phone. And really, there was nothing personal, like affecting him, that she saw, but she had access to other confidential stuff there. And he felt really compromised as a professional, right? What I'm telling you, took several years for that relationship between husband and wife to even become friendly again.
I don't
He wasn't
understand.
having
What
it.
did she do with the information?
No, she didn't need. So it's just like saying, okay, I have confidential information on my phone,
Yes.
and then now you have seen it. It does not necessarily affect me. It's not because I am cheating on you, but now you have access to information you should not have access to.
Again,
Right?
the question is, did she
Yeah.
abuse the access that she had to that information? Or is it just the fact that she saw it that now made the marriage go
Trust
through
me.
whatever it is that they went
Trust
through?
me, there are certain things you should not even see when it has to do with a third party. Seeing that, so this is what it does to the person. It makes me feel, if I'm like speaking for the man now,
Yes.
makes me feel like my ethical code has been broken. When I tell my clients that, when I assure my clients of confidentiality, and then that confidentiality is broken even in my own home, do you understand? It feels like your integrity is on the line, even if nobody knows about it.
I
Right?
see.
So for him, it was just that disappointment that why
She
did you
went
go
through
into
the phone.
this?
That's it. She
Yes.
didn't go through the phone and
That
come
was-
and say, oh, so this is what is happening with so and so person. She just went through the phone
It didn't even
and that was bad
that.
enough.
Just the fact that you had to go and start reading up people's files, that was not your business.
I see.
And the guy wasn't going to have it.
Okay.
Real stuff, I'm telling you. I'm just playing around the details, right?
I am.
So at the end of the day, when that kind of person tells you, if I see your hand near my phones again, even this my personal phone, I don't want to see your hand yet, since you have decided that you don't want to be reasonable, what are you going to tell him to make him change his mind? You understand? The only way is to demonstrate. The only way is to demonstrate that you have changed from that kind of behavior, and that kind of change does not happen overnight. So I'm talking about consistent behavior over months and over years, if need be.
Because I'm sorry. I just need to understand this clearly. Chalk it up to the woman in me, but by virtue of this person's profession, he found out that his wife went through the phone. It's not because she came to him and said, oh, so, I saw this. He just found out that she went through it. And say his reaction was cut her off from both professional and private phone, which she already had access to, which she did not abuse the access to the private phone. And then he says, okay, because of this, you don't even have access to any of my phones again. Is it me, or does that seem a bit extreme? Like, I understand if he warns her off and even threatens divorce over her going through the work phone, but why block her off completely? It just seems extreme in my case. Or am I just being a woman about this?
So what I would say is, there's a way the Bible said something about an offended brother being more unyielding than a fortified city. Mm-hmm. All right. So so imagine that as an offended spouse, right? If an offended brother can be more unyielding than a fortified city, then think of what happens when a spouse is offended. In other place, it talks about how jealousy arouses a husband's
Hello,
fury.
sir. Did we not talk about conflict resolution here? What manner of offense is that? What happens to resolving the conflict? Like, is it that? Because I'm honestly, I'm trying to understand the damage.
Resolving the conflict does not deny the conflict, first of all.
Yes, true, 100%.
So if in that moment somebody feels I am this offended, and this is the measures I'm taking, that may not necessarily be the right thing at that time. But the point is, this is what this person is doing in their anger, in their offense, right? They'll do what they'll have to do. It's later we'll start talking about how to moderate that, or how to get out of that, or how to make it better.
Okay.
Right? I'm not telling you that is what you should do.
Okay.
We're talking about a case. Do you understand?
Oh yeah, I hear.
Talking about a case. I don't know the person's level of maturity. I don't know his level of emotional development and intelligence. But I'm telling you that he just felt like, okay, now I've violated my trust, and since you have broken trust, this is the punitive, or this is the consequence
of the
breaking
action.
that trust.
Let's take this call. Quickly.
Exactly.
Let's take this call. Hello.
Hello, good evening, my dear sister.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you, my dear. First time calling on your program.
Good to have you here. What's your name, though, and where are you calling
My
from?
name
My name is Vitalis. I call on the other belt, but this is the first time I'm calling on your program.
Welcome, Vitalis. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, dear. I heard you ask a question. Am I thinking like a woman? Yes, you are thinking like a woman. You are looking at it from a woman's point of view. The curiosity, could there be something that is not probably explained to me? You know, you are always curious, trying to find out something, and then you believe that whatever truth the man has told you, he may not have told you the complete truth. So the tendency to begin to go and begin to cry is always there. I understand what my brother there is saying very well. I counsel people. And there is this thing, my wife, like somebody comes to me and discusses an issue with me. It's a matter of confidentiality. And I give my word. In counseling or whatever like that, there are matters that should be confidential, that you are not supposed to divulge to a third party. If you do that, you break the rules. And I think that's what's happening in this case. So, before man and God, this is it. You know, people come to me, even while I am in the house with my wife, somebody will come to me and discuss with me. And the moment the person leaves, my wife does not ask me, what is she telling you? No, or what is he telling you? No, it's confidential. That is a different thing. The man has been magnanimous enough to put his public phone before him and say, you have access to all this. And even this one, you have access. But this is office matters. What is she looking for? What has to do with the office? What is she looking for?
Okay.
So, you know, it's technical. It's difficult to understand this. But we are talking of trust. As you are there, my sister, if I give you my word, I am not supposed to break it. I am not supposed to break it. If it happens, it's like somebody talking with me, and I say, whatever you discuss with me, if you hear it anywhere, it is not me. And I am expected to keep to it.
Okay.
Likewise, in official matters, the same thing is applicable. So what my brother is trying to say there, try to understand him.
Absolutely.
I know you are a woman, but sometimes it's good to look at it from our own point of view too.
Thank you so much, Vitalis. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, when I was talking about being a woman, I was saying I was judging it from, or rather, I was coming from the point of his reaction to what she did. No question. Yes, no question about the fact that her snoopiness was a little too snoopy. It was a lot, not a little, because you already have access to one phone, my sister. You know, so but I was coming from the point of his reaction to it, and that's why I made mention of, didn't it seem a little extreme? What happened to conflict resolution and the likes? But let's leave that alone. And because I need to get to this one that was brought up by Samuel Kelvin when he talked about privacy issues, right? So let me ask you this, Coach M. You are a proponent of spouses in marriage being one. They are one, right? There should be one when it comes to pretty much everything. Is there room for, I mean, in a way, what you talked about may be kind of as an answer this question, but I want to hear from you directly. When you're talking about privacy and autonomy in a marriage, it is said that individuals have a right to a degree of privacy and autonomy. And when that is eroded, it's like it can sort of like it can no, let me put it this way. Where there's no privacy, where there's privacy and autonomy, it's in a way it's like saying that there are boundaries in the relationship between a husband and a wife. Is that a thing? Yeah. Because how can that be a thing and yet you say that husband and wife are one?
Okay, excellent. Excellent question. So don't forget that even when we talk about oneness, it does not remove the fact that we have two separate individuals. You are not physically cemented into one being. You are still two separate people. The understanding of oneness is in the concept of unity and unitedness of purpose, of vision, of intent, of openness and vulnerability, right? It's not a physical oneness. So what that means is that there will still be areas of your life that may be personal to you, and I will explain. There are certain aspects of your family relationship, for example, that you may not be comfortable disclosing to your partner. So let me say this thing. In as much as we emphasize a lot of openness, the truth is there are certain areas you cannot go 100%. How do I start giving you all the background information of what has been happening in my village and how that my uncle and then the other one, how do I download? Those are things that will take a lifetime to download.
Like, but if it comes up in conversation, should I withhold the information or should I share it?
I'm saying that even when it comes up in conversation, there's still so much you can share per time. It does not mean you are holding back. Doesn't mean you are deliberately hiding certain things. It just means that this conversation will mature over time and give openness and access to several other issues. Something will happen that will provoke a connection with this other thing, and then you will need to now know this other background. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. The point is, yes, there's openness, but you don't have 100% access to data on my life yet, right? And certain part of that data, especially if it is not impactful directly on the relationship, right? You may not be privy to it until there's a need for that.
Again, which is why I asked the question, if it does come up in conversation, should I withhold the information, or is this me maintaining privacy and autonomy? Because I don't... So it was still... I'm going somewhere with this, and that's why we're having a conversation around access to phones. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm trying to understand it. Okay. There is oneness. There's unity of purpose, you spoke to a large extent about this oneness when it came to the finances and what it should look like, even though, which is why at some point, even when we're having those conversations, I asked, is there such a thing as too much information when it comes to putting out information regarding what I earn, and all of that. So when it comes to this particular conversation now around phones, yes, maybe with the example of maybe a certain profession and all of that, but if people are not in that profession, what is the privacy and autonomy that you're maintaining when it comes to phone usage?
So as a human being, first of all, every human has a right to life, a right to privacy, right? You are my wife and I choose to share certain things with you. I am not sharing the other ones just yet. If I don't feel that it is time to share it just yet, allow me get to the point where I'm comfortable sharing.
For example, I'm in a relationship with another woman and I don't feel like it's time to share it just yet. When it gets to the point where I feel like I can bring the conversation, I will bring it up. No.
Somebody who is married?
Yes.
No, there's context to what we are saying now.
Please give me the context. That's what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for the context.
Okay, listen to this, right? Okay. I'm talking about accountability. Knowing that your actions and inactions could be detrimental to your partner and to your relationship. Don't forget that backdrop, right? And we are saying that you should not willfully be engaging in activities that are detrimental to your relationship and to your partner. Right? So if you're already doing that, you're already a defaulter now. You're breaking the whole accountability and integrity that we're trying to establish. Right? So I'm talking about things that don't impact on the marriage. There's some information that don't directly impact on the marriage. Doesn't mean I should be sharing everything about it with you. Do you understand? There's certain dealings maybe my uncle has done, and it's not direct to the marriage. Do you understand? Now, something can lead to something, and then one day I'm now telling you, that my uncle. So you see, the thing is, for the past 15 years, right, there's this issue he had. In fact, he went to sell for it. But, something there was a need for that information to come out. My point here is, so long as we're not dealing with things that directly impact on the peace and the oneness in that relationship, there is still room for your
privacy
of private
and autonomy.
Life. Do you understand?
Okay.
Privacy is not saying that I'm cheating on you, then you should not look at my phone. That's not the privacy we're talking about. No, that's not it. That is you being sneaky. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. I'm saying there's context to it. We're talking about people who are trying to be accountable, who are living with integrity and openness, right? And then I'm saying also that for such people, the fact that you're saying, yes, there's nothing I'm hiding from you, does not mean that at the time T, I have told you everything about my past and everything about my family and everything about all my connections. No, events will lead to that. Do you understand? But then, do you know that there might be something your partner would want to know? And maybe because of the emotional impact it has on you, you are not yet in that space to share it. It's also possible that the person tells the partner, I don't feel like I'm able to have this conversation yet. Could you just give me some time? Real stuff. So there was a case, actually, or there was, an instance where a couple, they married, and this guy discovered that there were certain things his wife was struggling with. And he tried to have a conversation with her. And this was what she said. Yeah, the truth is, I know the reasons why I'm behaving like this, but I feel like I can't talk about it now. Can you just understand with me? Give me time. Right? Real situation. And that was what brought them to therapy. Because at the end of the day, the guy is like, man, I don't get it. What kind of thing it is? My wife cannot talk to me. And he's angry, he's provoked. But good enough, I tell people every time you are in a fix with your partner, and you remember that you can speak to a professional about it, it shows that you're in a good place. All right. At the end of the day, I still told the young man, give her some time. I'm not going to force anything out of her mouth, but give her time. There's a reason for this.
Okay.
Do you trust her? Do you love her? Then give her time. If eventually what she brings out is something that is very destructive, well, but give her some time.
Okay.
Right? Until we're able to get to that point where she's free enough to share it.
Okay. I think you've provided context as far as the privacy and autonomy conversation when it comes to these things. Let me just touch on a few areas where people think that the thing about phones and access to phone is not true accountability. They say if one spouse feels the need to go through the other's phone, which you've addressed, it often points to an underlying lack of trust rather than a healthy form of accountability. So that's one area. We've talked about privacy and autonomy. They said rather than fostering trust, one thing that going through your partner's phone brings about is a cycle of suspicion and anxiety, which I think you've kind of touched on, because the person who is having access to the phone and their usage of the phone, if it's coming from a place of suspicion, like you said, whatever you're looking for, you will find, because they will misinterpret every message, they will misinterpret every contact, and it will lead to unnecessary conflict. Then there's a case of if one spouse feels pressured or forced into allowing the other person access, while they are not given the same access in return, it's not a voluntary thing, they're coerced to do it, then it is not an act of accountability. It's one trying to force submission, and this can lead to resentment. Then there is also the issue of what are the symptoms of this wanting to use the phone or access to phone thing, or what is the root cause. For some people it's infidelity, for some people it's dishonesty. They simply see these things and they think that wanting to go through the phone will address these concerns, and it most of the time does not, especially if that's all you are doing. You just want to go through the phone, you're not having a conversation to clear up whatever place you're in your mind, whether it's infidelity or dishonesty and all of that. So these are some of the explanations around why your partner having access to your phone may not be seen as accountability. Now, if we were to just bring this, we've talked to some extent about openness, transparency. We've talked about the unhealthy aspect of it. Is it safe to say that this is not a yes or no thing? Your partner having access to your phone is seen as accountability. Is it safe to say that it's not a yes or no thing? It depends on most of the factors that we've outlined here. Is it safe to say that, Coach M?
Okay, I'm trying to understand that question. That your partner having access to your phone doesn't necessarily mean accountability.
Is it safe to say that it's not a yes or no answer to this? Because
Okay.
that's where we're coming from. That's the question.
From where I'm processing it right now, understanding what you said, yeah, it's not. I would say it's not a yes and no answer. Why I'm saying that is because a partner can also give you accountability or access to the phone and still be doing something sinister that you're not finding out. So yes. So outwardly or for the show of it, there is accountability, but then, like they say, since birds have learned to fly without perching, hunters have learned to shoot. And where they say it, since hunters have learned to shoot without missing, birds too have learned to fly without perching. Right?
Yeah.
So it's possible that this person says, okay, since I know that you're an FBI, then me too, let me bring in all my Secret Service moves, and then see my phone. No, you have access to everything, no, but yet there's a secret life, which is even more destructive. Do you understand? So to say that is not necessarily a yes and no thing, right? But it is just encouraged or advocated that people should understand the need for openness and trust in their relationship, right? That's what I have to say.
And openness and trust can be shown even when there's no access to your partner's phone? Or is having access to your partner's phone a key sign of openness and trust? That's the question for you, Coach M. I'm sure he'll come back to answer that in a little bit. That little beep was the stream ending, but I'll bring him back. Before I bring him back, though, the phone lines are open. Let's take the next 3 minutes to take any other thoughts or contributions that you might have to the conversation. We've delved very deeply into a number of aspects. Perhaps there's some aspect of it that you think we've missed out on, we can touch on. I know we didn't really get into the infidelity aspect. I think that one is pretty straightforward. If you are depriving your partner of access to your phone because you have other businesses that you're conducting, I think we really don't need to speak too much about that one. It's the other parts that are not as straightforward, I think, that we've spent a lot of time on. But if you feel like we need to touch on it, nevertheless, now is the time. Call us up. It's 0700951 0000 or 00959748669. On WhatsApp, it's 00999300137. Let's see if we got any messages here on Facebook. Ooh, this one is good, but I want Coach M to jump in on this one. Let me quickly bring him back on the conversation and then we'll take that one. Zero 07009510000 or 00959748669. On WhatsApp, it's 00999300137. We are wrapping up the conversation around accountability, and just want to be sure that we have touched on all the possible angles that there are to touch on. So if you feel like we haven't covered it enough, or perhaps some point of view that you want to bring up, please let us know. Coach M?
Right here.
Okay, let's see this one while we're waiting for the calls to come in. Dear wife, I think this is copied. Someone copied this and posted it on their platform. Dear wife, the day I start hiding my phone from you, just know that I am cheating on you. Though I won't cheat on you, but that is the extent of the openness of my life for you to devour. Please carry my phone. Go through it with or without my consent. Sleep with it. Check everywhere. And even answer my calls, reply my messages. Your body can't be a public property to me while my ordinary phones become private properties to you. You don't have to suspect me before you can check my phones. Sometimes by checking my phones, you will save me from me and others. Please, my madam at the top, my phone is our phone. Your phone is our phone. As our bodies are, so is everything else. Says this should be a national anthem of every man because marriage is partnership and it takes couples working together as teammates to make it work. Going through your partner's phone whenever you want is a part of a healthy marriage. If you don't want your partner to go through your phone, please remain single. says there are no boundaries or privacy in marriage. Class dismissed. Coach, are you quiet? Are you quiet?
We always establish that there is ideal and there is realistic.
Okay.
Right?
Which one is this one? Very quickly.
No, this is ideal.
Okay. Let's take a quick break.
Each day we rise with the spirit of progress in us. This is who we are. On this journey, enjoy the...
This is Nigeria Info.